Mustang Sally. Don't you feel, Brian? Woo! Yeah. Two-bam. Wait, what?
What?
Brian, what just happened?
Skynet became self-aware, Sean.
It was only a matter of time.
It was.
Happens quick.
Happened real quick.
Everyone's like, oh, we're kind of worried about AI taking over in our kids' lifetime.
LA 2023.
No, it's gonna happen probably this year. But, you know.
And here we are.
For the power of good right now.
Right now, Skynet has taken over our tones.
Oh, it's stolen all of our amps.
Stolen all of our amps and our tones in its neural network.
Amazing.
If you will.
Sweetwater has hooked us up with this IK Multimedia Amplitude TONEX pedal. I guess we could call it a pedal.
So
you know?
it's a pedal, but it's like an entire ecosystem. So you get the pedal, and the pedal, of course, it's standalone. It comes loaded with a bunch of really great sounding amps. But you also get the software, which you can use as a plug-in, and you can use all the same amps that are captured in the plugin on your computer. We'll show that.
Okay.
And you also get a full version of Amplitude, so you get even more amps in case the hundreds that come with this aren't enough. And let's say you're just like, you know what? I hate everyone's amp but my own amp.
That's right. Which is kind of how I feel. Like, I've notoriously been a hater. I'm like, you know, the Neural DSP, the Quack. I was like, I don't want to mess with that. I just want to play my amp.
You want to play your amp.
Yes.
But let's say you've got like 4 or 5 amps and you got to go to a gig.
Right.
But you still want those amps.
I'm not going to load in 2 amps.
No.
That's stupid.
You load it in 1 amp is already like, that's a lot.
Yes.
Right? So you can actually capture using the TONEX software. You can capture your own amps, and it's actually a really easy process. Like, because I've done it with the Kemper before, and that was just like a whole, just like the learning curve is very, very steep. This walks you through it. We'll show you some footage of that.
Cool.
But it does an amazing job of just like capturing the amps you have with the settings that you have. So what it's going to be, it's not completely simulating your amp like an amp simulator plugin. You're sort of capturing a tone print of that setting. So if you've got, you know, let's say you've got an overdrive pedal, you've got it set up in your drive setting, your lead setting for your amp, you'd capture that. Mm-hmm. And then if you had, let's say, a rhythm or a clean channel or setting, you'd also run a capture, and then you could save those in the banks there. And so you could, you know, potentially capture all of your settings that you wanted.
This is super interesting to me because we're talking about amp modeling versus almost like amp ripping.
Exactly.
It's
right? different. It's different because it's using a different approach. It's using sort of a neural network, sort of like an artificial intelligence to machine learning to train itself on how the amp actually sounds.
Which is crazy. It's not trying to be like, oh, it sounds like this, I'm going to make it sound kind of like this.
No.
It's taking the information that you're giving through the way that you met with the software.
You're miking the amp up, and it's sending test tones through the amp. It's even sending actual guitar playing through the amp. And then when it does, it just runs in a loop, right? And so it's just basically saying, how do I get this input to match what I've recorded out of your amp? And it's just continuously learning. It takes, if you're on a Mac, it's a little bit slow. It takes about 3 hours to do an advanced capture. If you're on a PC or any computer with a CUDA enabled graphics card, so like an NVIDIA graphics card, it only takes like 20-30 minutes. But it basically learns the tone of that amp.
And just to be clear, you can set it up and leave. You don't have to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah. You could, the capture process where it's actually making noise is like 5 minutes. And then you can go eat lunch and let it just crunch numbers and process the tone. I mean, I think a lot of people are probably not going to do that, and still this pedal is super useful because when you capture your stuff, you can also upload it to ToneNet, and then you can share all your sounds, but you can also get sounds from other people. So there's all these like crazy amps, stuff that's just like not really going to get ever modeled in a plugin.
Sure.
Just like, oh, this is like Bill's, 57 Fender,
Mm-hmm.
Or some just like weird boutique stuff that's like just never going to get modeled because there's like 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
Or just plain just like random.
Or stuff like Brian's Delta King, Super
Exactly.
Delta King, right? It's not one of the top amps that you would think like, oh, is this going to become as like a preset or whatever? So you can kind of just go through and grab whatever you want. Huh?
And we actually made a capture of the Delta King, and we put it up on ToneNet with the hashtag Sean Daniel. So
Love it.
You should
come get your boy's amp right now.
You can get it right now. It's
just how we have it set up. And again, another thing just to clarify, it's like it's not the amp, it's the amp in a setting in time.
Correct.
Right? Like
Correct.
how you set your drive, how you set your EQ.
Exactly.
It's just going to be the amp at that moment.
So it's not replacing the Delta King, right? Because it's
Correct.
like I still want to be able to, set it up, record it, and things like that. But I can capture it at a point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't capture the reverb, so no time-based effects.
Yeah, like
but
reverb or delay or like phaser, like weird stuff like that.
Any overdrive, fuzz, that's cool. You can
Mm-hmm.
do any sort of dirty stuff. You can capture overdrive. That's actually what it's really good at. And it's sort of like that moment in time. And I can do that through the software. I can use it as the plugin. By the way, there's a free version of the plugin. You can just go download and check out the ToneNet and download and try these out.
Yeah.
And then when you go to your gig, just drag and drop them. This just hooks up with USB. You can just drag and drop them and set up your banks here. And you've got some basic controls. Like this is just an EQ. This wouldn't be like the actual EQ from your amp. This is just sort of a post tone control of the capture.
Mm-hmm.
You can enable and disable the cabinet sound if you want to switch out different IRs of cabinets and things like that. Or if you just wanted to capture the amp without a cabinet. A lot of people just have heads and they want to sort of capture that and then maybe run it into like with a power amp.
Yeah,
Into a cabinet. The one thing we should mention is you're not going to plug this guy into your amp like a pedal.
Right.
Because that would be sort of like amp inception, right?
Sure. I mean, you could.
You could.
Daisy chaining classic amps is not really a thing that has happened yet.
But
maybe we'll start it.
Maybe that's your tone.
I always prefer a basement into a Mesa Boogie.
Maybe that's your
know
tone.
What I mean? Maybe that's what I go for. That's hashtag Sean Daniel amp.
But yeah, you would want what they call like with full frequency response cabinet. There's a couple companies make them. PA.
Right
PA.
here. Like more and more shows now, live shows, you're just going into the PA.
Just to
anyway,
feed your PA.
Right? A lot of times people are using multi-effects units and they just sound their electric guitar into the PA. But those sound kind of lifeless. They don't sound like they're going through an amp. So that's why this is great, because you can still get your amp in a setting where you're just easily sound checking like a PA. So.
And it feels really good when you capture the amp. It gives you the opportunity to kind of set your levels and then compare the two. You can compare your live signal in the room of the amp that you have mic'd up to the tone capture to kind of make sure everything went okay. You can just click between them and verify that it actually feels like your amp.
This is crazy, man.
I know, man.
It's crazy. This is where we're at now. AI.
Self-aware.
That's it.
That's it.
Days away.
Days away.
So get it quick. So go to Sweetwater and get the gear that you need quick. Because
hang up the phone. Your parents are dead.
First, the parents are dead.
little T2 action for you there, right there. So yeah, get yourself some Sweetwater. But let's go through the stuff that you captured just to kind of show how it works.
Yeah, we'll pull it up on the computer. All right.
Oh man, here we are in the TONEX infrastructure.
world.
We're in the ecosystem.
So this is the standalone app.
Okay.
You can just run this if you just want to jam.
All right.
You can also use it as a plugin in whatever DAW you're using.
So this is one that came with it then?
Yes, it comes with it. And like I said, there's a free version of this that you can download and just play with some of these tones.
Cool.
Without having to get the pedal if you just want to kind of see if it sounds good on your rig and your
Sweet.
guitar. And so this is sort of all the built-in stuff that we got. We can also activate a reverb. So it's got a built-in reverb. We can kind of hit up and do a little spring. got a noise gate. That guitar's a little noisy, so let's put that noise gate on. And a built-in compressor. Get a little.
Sounds great.
Nice. So we can find our sound that I captured here. We're just gonna go type in Supro.
Supro. Is this it, huh?
There it is.
Oh wow! Especially.
Sounds good.
He always just wants to play Mustang Sally like
That's
all
it.
the time. That's kind of like your go-to
That's
thing.
it.
It sounds just like it.
No, it sounds super good. Yeah. Feels really good too.
That's actually crazy. Like the tone is literally spot on. Wow. All right.
Yeah, we can go here and check out some of these clean tones. Let's do search by character and let's go see if we can find anything that's clean. Here we go. Let's try some Fender Twin.
What's this?
This is a 57 Bandmaster. Here's a Wagner.
But I feel like the high end sounds so much more believable. The thing I didn't like about the modeling was like they'd always be kind of mid-rangey.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know, but is it Hot Rod?
Better Hot Rod, yeah.
I feel like it captures a clear high end, but also like the to-be low end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's got a good, there's a good dynamic, like a good tactileness about it.
And that's always been the difference between like the modeling.
Yeah, and I mean, a big secret to sort of having guitars feel good in sort of the plug-in state is to have your buffer settings set real low. You're not gonna have to worry about that in a pedal. That's one of the advantages of loading these on. Speaking of, we can just go to our librarian.
Okay.
And let's say I want to take the tone that we captured of the Supro, and I want to put that as my first preset. What I'll do is it's super easy. I'll just drag that up, and now it's in bank A. I'm just gonna overwrite.
So then now okay.
Boom, it's right.
Oh yeah,
there.
and I can see it on the pedal.
You can see it
right
on the
here,
pedal. It
too.
says the name.
This is a great looking pedal too, by the way. There we go. Look at that. Boom. Just because you dragged it there, and that'll change in real time, I guess, as long as.
Yeah, I mean it's plugged into USB.
Yeah,
So, but then the pedal itself has really low latency if you're going to go gigging and everything like that. Just in terms of it doesn't feel like there's a lot of delay on your computer. If you set it up, I'll just give you an example.
So this is like the worst you could play.
Feels really bad. So it's not very fun. So no matter how good the tone is, you're gonna sound completely disconnected. So I mean, you really
get into the buffer settings.
You want to get down to like a 64 or a 128.
Yeah, that feels perfect.
Now you shouldn't be able to notice.
Yeah. It's crazy. This is crazy how much this sounds like my amp.
Go back to that. I'm going to go to the modeler. Already did that.
Dirty.
I did another one earlier. This was with the SM7.
Oh, okay.
Similar.
And that's just the only difference between these two is one was you captured with SM7 versus a 57.
versus a 57. But also it was my first one, so I was just kind of learning.
Okay.
Right. So I think I did a better job with this one, but I don't know. I mean,
I can tell. I feel like there's a little more.
I got it closer to the grill, so I think it's just a little bit more how I wanted to do it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I also kind of, I played with, I think I captured it louder, because obviously when you do your capture, you want to kind of capture it as at the sweet spot of the amp. So,
Usually tube amps, that means you have to crank them a little bit, you know?
yeah,
Get
and so
going.
you kind of need to have some ear protection or put it in another room when you're working on that. And you can go to the ToneNet. Here we go. We can log into ToneNet.
ToneNet.
So
I like how they even called it ToneNet, like it is from
ToneNet.
Terminator.
And
like-
now I'm looking at, this is just like people from all over the world's amps.
That's awesome.
And so I can just kind of go search through. There's ratings, people going like, hey, that's a thumbs up, that's really cool. This is how many times it's been downloaded, so I can kind of go check by date.
And this is all pretty fairly new, so you're not getting like a lot of stuff.
No, but there's
Yeah.
actually, if I go in here and I kind of clear out, the search, there's actually a lot of stuff. There's a website too, you can kind of go and put you can upload your tones through this app, but you can also, through the web portal, kind of browse stuff. And there's been some like really cool uploads. This came out in late last year, but there's already people doing stuff that's like really ridiculously good.
Great.
So, and that's just like free. That's just out, people just offering their models out
Love it.
there.
And now we're part of that. We're giving back.
We're part of that.
Hashtag Sean Daniel.
Hashtag Sean Daniel. Easy as that.
Yeah, this is wild. So again, now you've got no excuse to bring your favorite amp with you.
Exactly.
And all that, all that money you're going to save from buying amp after amp after amp, you go to Sweetwater and use it on other stuff with our affiliate link in the description. Brian, thank you for doing all of this yourself. So I didn't have to read any manuals. Appreciate that.
No problem, as always.
Yep, go show him some love over on his channel, Finishing Move Inc. And we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.